Hello all and welcome to another Construct with Jamie YouTube video. Today on the Crafting with Jamie Rodgers and Craftmania YouTube channel we are going to be creating our 3D Christmas ornament. Now as you can see in the middle of this one we actually have a die that is created by Sue Wilson. It's part of the Slimline 2021 collection, and in the middle of my apertures I've actually put some family photos from past Christmases. What we're going to be doing on the Construct with Jamie video today is actually giving you the bones of the construction. We're not going to go too much into the decorations. It's more about actually how you can construct 3D elements like this, or larger or smaller. I'm going to give you a couple of options as we go and explain how it's done, and it's really just giving you the actual construction measurements and bits that you need, and then we hopefully will get to see lots of your constructions and versions on our Facebook group as well, but we'll chat more about that at the end of the video. So I'm going to pop this to one side for a moment and I'm going to bring in the card that we need. So I'm actually working on Foundations Coconut White card, and that comes in two weights. I'm using the thicker weight, which is 315 GSM. It's just a really good one for construction. Obviously if you haven't got this to one side, try with the card you've got, it's not a problem, but it is a nice sort of off-white cream shade that works really well for that sort of vintage Christmas effect. I'm also going to be working on a centimetre scoreboard. This is a Vasson Creative one. Again, this is available from Craftmania along with all of the bits we're going to be talking about. But it's a centimetre one. We do also do an inch one as well. But I'm going to actually be working in centimetres for this construction. You could very easily convert it. It's not going to be a big mathematical problem to convert them if you are somebody who has an inch board or prefers working in inches. So our first panel that we're going to need to make our actual side panels to our construction, this is 12.5 centimetres by A4 in length. So 12.5 centimetres wide, A4 in length. We're going to pop that onto our scoreboard and we're going to score this at 2.5 centimetres, which is roughly an inch, to give you an idea if you are somebody who likes working in inches instead. We're then going to score at 5 centimetres, which is approximately 2 inches. We're then going to score at 7.5 centimetres, which of course is approximately 3 inches. And then we're going to score at 10 centimetres, sorry, which would then of course be around 4 inches roughly. We're then going to turn the card and we're going to pop it back on the board, and this time we're going to score at 2 centimetres, and we're going to do that at each end. If you are doing this on an inches board instead, you might want to do that at about 3/4 of an inch-ish roughly. So 2 centimetres for your two ends, 2.5 centimetre intervals across the middle is how we've got to so far. Now we're going to pop our board to one side, we'll come back to that a little later. But what we're now going to do is start trimming into our card. So you may see already that we have two lines, and I'll fold them up actually so you can see them. We have our two lines for our 2 centimetre pieces, and then if we actually, we'll go the whole way. Let's do our folding too. If you've got a bone folder to one side, that would be a very good idea to use a bone folder and go across your creases, but we don't actually need this bit, so I'm sort of cheating a little bit. So once you can see your score lines nice and easily, we're going to go in with a pair of scissors and we're going to trim off the cube in the outer corner at the very top, and we're going to do exactly the same at the bottom on the same part of the pillar. So just on one strip, top and bottom, we're going to remove that block. Now they're the only ones we fully remove, the rest we're just going to be trimming. So to trim them, we're going to come in with a pair of scissors again, and we're going to work about 0.5 centimetre, I suppose, maybe 1/4 of an inch into the panel, and we're going to trim down to the cross section where our scores mix, and we're going to do that on each of the middle points. Now this doesn't have to be exact at all, just as you find it will be fine. We're also going to do exactly the same on the outer pieces as well. And we refer to this technique as plant potting because when we look at them, they look a little bit like a plant pot. So when your tabs look like plant pots, you know you're roughly in the right place. We're going to do exactly the same on the base as well. So on the other end, we're going to go ahead and we're just going to remove these little triangles. Just going right onto the join. Go up for that one. And then our last one on the end here. Now we can get all of these bits out of the way, and we're going to actually glue this together. Now you may wish to use red liner tape for this, double-sided tape, or any other manner of glues. That's absolutely fine. I'm actually going to be using the Cosmic Shimmer Dries Clear Glue, and I've already decanted it into an ultra-fine bottle just so it's easier to apply. I love this glue because it is quick drying and it does dry quick. Also has quite a quick grab time to it as well, so for construction I find it quite handy. I'm going to use my bottle and I'm going to put the glue directly onto the tab or the strip, whatever we wish to call it, the one without the actual tabs on the end here, so the one that we started off with. Now instead of holding this in the air and trying to bring in the end and trying to match them up, not knowing if they're level or not, what I'm going to do is I'm going to push this down, I'm going to hold on to it, and we can see that that's perfectly aligned with our middle panel, and I'm going to bring in the outside panel and fold it over. And by doing so we should end up with a perfectly level, perfectly straight pillar construction to begin with. So we now have our box part made. Now obviously we have these tabs at the end here that we're yet to address. So we're going to bring those out for the second, and we're going to go into the one of the outside panel. So where that's layered over, the one that's double thickness, and we're going to bring this one in first. We're going to tuck that over, and we're going to add our Cosmic Shimmer glue to the top of this one, and we're going to just work round, bringing those in and adding on our glue. Now obviously our tabs are slightly shorter than the width. I've done that intentionally so you don't see them. So these are only 2 centimetres and the width is actually 2.5. I don't need you to have the tabs coming right the way to the side here. And in actual fact it's quite nice because where these are obviously 4 layers of quite thick card doubling up, if we do it this way, when we come to stick it down, they sort of push up slightly in the middle and you won't have that bulk, you won't have that rise of the pillar standing off the card. We're then going to do exactly the same at the top. We're going to bring in that outside one to begin with. We're going to pop our glue on and then we're going to work round, just adding in the tabs. We can fold that one over. And that will create our long panel. Now for our construction that we're looking at this time, you're going to notice that we have 2 long panels, one on each side, and we have a slightly shorter one in the middle with our top bar. So for your top bar, you're going to do everything I have just shown you, but this time we're going to do it on a piece of card which is 24 centimetres by 12.5. So instead of being A4 in length, we've literally just trimmed it down, same width, and you're going to score it exactly the same. So we're going to still score lengthways at 2.5, 5, 7.5 and 10 centimetres. And then on the end we're going to do the same 2 centimetre pieces. You're going to repeat the same cutting as we did for the first part, pillar, and you're going to glue it in exactly the same way, and you will end up with a pillar that looks something like this. So we have our long and our short pillars. Now for my construction, obviously I have 2 of the long ones and 1 of the smaller one, but I did want to give you a few options on how you could create different effects. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in a piece of our coconut white card. Now obviously if I was going for our standard same as this one design, I would measure out roughly how much I want my base panel to be, and I would trim that down before I started sticking the columns and that on, because obviously that's going to affect where I want it to be. But what I'm going to do this time is I'm going to work on a larger sheet of card because I want to talk to you a little bit about placement and different places and ways we can build this up. So I'm going to bring in one of the pillars, and I've already put some double-sided tape on the bottom here, and we're just going to work to the corner because it'll give me the most room to talk to you about different options. And we're going to pop that one down. Now for our top bar, we know that roughly we have a bit of a centimetre overhang. I'm not going to push that down too firmly because I want it to still be able to be moved. And then we're going to bring in one of our little tabs. So I've already gone ahead and I've put these on with just some glue dots, so that they are roughly held in place. It gives me a bit of freedom if I need to move them if they look too wonky on camera. But we're going to pop that in. You could of course tuck these over afterwards as well. And then we're going to bring in our last panel, our last pillar, and pop that in place. So as you can see very quickly, with the construction I've given you, you could put your arch together and you could play around with that as it is. Now if you wish to, we could of course continue and go bigger. So what I've done here is I have another set of pillars, and I'm going to bring these ones in. So I've also made a short pillar, and I'll give you the measurements for this in just a second. So if you wish to, you could bring in your short pillar, and we're going to put another one of our little, very wonky looking tabs on here, just to give you an idea. And we could of course add this one to that one. Can you tell I loved Lego as a child? This really is just like the ultimate construction, really, isn't it? And then we're going to put that pillar, oh, if we can, keep going. We'll put that back up in a second, it's not a problem. We're going to put that one on there, and we can add that pillar to here. So what I'm trying to show you is very quickly, we could actually make this more into a 4D, four-dimensional panel instead. Now, if you prefer, obviously, instead of going as a 4 panel, we could just actually create them in like a T, and we could bring out more panels and carry on as like a zigzag if you wish. Also, what you can do, if you prefer, is instead of going with your hanging panels going on lengthways, we could go across with them being horizontal instead. So I'm just going to bring this one over and pop our glue tab back on there. And then we could actually hang them coming out the side instead. Or if you wanted to, you could use the shorter panels and make more of a horizontal design to begin with. So it really is up to you. It's sort of a constructionary piece that you can play around with and create as you wish to make up different constructions and formulas just by creating your bars and playing around with them. Now, I mentioned I used a slightly shorter pillar for this side one here, because if I was thinking I wanted to make it as a 4, I would add in another long panel at the back here to match in with that front one, so that matched, and then I could add in another short panel in the middle and really play around with them like that. But I've purposely done this in a way that I can break all of it away and move it to where I need it to be. So if I did want to continue, obviously that leg would come out, my longer panel could go on here, and then I could put in a shorter panel to this side. So when we can't think of table centres, larger decorations, bits like that, you could of course, even if you wanted to, you could start to go higher with your construction, and we could go for putting pillars on the top of these as well and hanging pieces in the middle of them. This is all to be played with. This is all up to you, how you wish to construct, what you wish to end up with, how you wish to decorate. So I'm going to pop this one back to one side, and we're going to bring in the original one again. We'll chat a little bit more about this one. So obviously, as you can see, we're a very rough construction. We can build up your 2 large pillars, we can add in that top bar, and then we can decorate as we wish to. So on this one, you can see I've used some mirror card to do my little fine strips down the front panels. I've added some of our pearls that come in lines, so don't think I've lined all of those up individually. They actually come on a strip. Of course, we have those on the website as well. I've added some chunkier ribbon and some bows and gems, and then I've also used some stamp cuts, which are a special form of die which stamps and cuts in one pass through your die cutting machine to actually add in the details here, along with some little candy canes and other decorations. So this really is all about you playing and experimenting and seeing what you can create and seeing how you end up with them. And we would love to see what you do. So if you don't mind, please, once you've played around and you've made your constructions and you're happy with them, do pop onto our Facebook group. It's a private group, so you will have to ask to join. There's a couple of questions, but nothing too taxing. But once you've joined, you can then share your creations with us. The group in question is called Create with Craftmania and Jamie Rodgers. If you just type that into the search bar at the top of Facebook, I'm sure it'll pop up and then you can ask to join, because we would love to see your versions of these. Once again, if you're on YouTube, please don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell so you get future notifications of our videos. And if you've never heard of Craftmania before, do check us out. It's www.craftmaniacrafts.com. We're a UK based company, and all of our parcels are sent free P&P within the UK if you spend over £5. We also ship internationally, and shipping is capped at just £10. You can find out more about all of this and view over 10,000 items on our website. Thank you very much for watching the latest Construct with Jamie, and I look forward to seeing you all again soon. Bye for now.